Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create this highlighter effect like wax videos in Adobe After Effects. This effect is very easy to make and I highly suggest you to watch this video until the end. So now without any further ado, let's start. Alright, so here we are inside of Adobe After Effects and now let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on new composition to set up a composition. The width and height is set on 1920 by 1080, the frame rate is 24 frames per second and the duration is 10 seconds. So I'm just going to call it newspaper and then let's hit OK. Now what I'm going to do on the next step is that I'm just going to go towards the asset folder and I'm going to bring the newspaper illustration in here. Now for the next step I'm going to press S and I'm going to scale it right about here, should be fine. And then as you see we have some blurriness in the illustration and that is because we need to turn on the raster layer. Alright, now on the next step we are going to create a highlight effect for a text. So for example I'm just going to create a highlight effect for these text in here. Now there are a couple of ways that you can achieve this technique. You can either use trim path or you can use the stroke effect, but I think I'm gonna go with the stroke effect for this video. So to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna right click in the empty space in here, in new, I'm gonna select solid. I'm gonna call it the stroke. Now the color doesn't matter because the next thing I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna turn off this layer and then I'm gonna go towards the pen tool and make sure the layer is selected so we can have access to the mask tool. And I'm gonna draw a line like this. Now if I still turn on the stroke one more time, as you see nothing will happen. And to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna add the stroke effect to the stroke layer. Now as you see still we have that white background. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go towards the paint style and I'm going to select on transparent. So as soon as I do that, as you see we have a thick white line in here. So we can use the brush size to increase the size and we can use the selection tool to adjust the mask. However, I'm just going to go towards the pen tool. I'm going to create a couple of points and I'm going to make it sort of a handwritten effect, so this should be fine. Great. Now what we can do on the next step is that we can use the end parameter to animate this line. So I'm gonna press U, I'm gonna go towards 3 seconds and then I'm gonna set the first keyframe on 3 seconds and then around like 4 seconds we can increase it all the way to 0. Now as you see everything is reversed, so we can select the keyframes, we can right click on it and then we can go towards the keyframe assistant and then we can select time reverse keyframes, so that will reverse the keyframes and this is exactly what we want. Now I'm going to use the motion tools and I'm going to set the ease on 75%, so let's watch. Great. Now as you see we have one major problem and it's that the line is above the text, so we need to sort of fix that. Well, to fix that problem all you need to do is that you need to select your layer and then in mode section you need to set the mode on multiply. Now as you see it's gone and we cannot see it, but we can change the color in here. So now as you see we have some nice text in here. Alright, now for the next step what we need to do is that we need to add a camera to our layer and then we can set up this newspaper in the 3D space. Well, to do that what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to leave this comp and I'm going to create a new composition again and this time I'm going to call it main. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to bring the newspaper composition in here. So now around 3 seconds is where the text starts, so I'm just gonna grab a marker and I'm gonna place it in here and I'm gonna call it the text so we know how much space we have. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna right click in empty space in here, in new I'm gonna select the camera. Now the type is set on 1 node camera and the preset is 50mm, so I'm gonna hit OK. Now, in order to make the camera work, we need to turn this layer into 3D. So I'm just going to click on this cube icon in here. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to navigate through the transform. I'm going to adjust the camera a bit. So I'm just going to make it like this. However, to kind of fix that, I'm just going to open the transform of the newspaper as well. I'm just going to rotate it into Z X space, something like this, and let's just bring it in here. And we can also use the scale, and we can scale these even further. And now I'm just gonna use the camera tools to set the camera over here. Now, one issue that you might face around these type of animations is that you sort of will lose the background in here. So to fix that, you can do a pretty neat trick. You can create a new solid layer, and then you can get the color from the background, and then you can place it before the your actual text layer. So I'm just gonna space it like this, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna set a keyframe on everything, and then I'm gonna move towards 1 second, and then I'm just gonna move it all up around here, and let's just play with some parameters to sort of give it a bit more depth. So I can extend the keyframes to here, and we don't need this X rotation, so let's just delete it. I'm just gonna set a keyframe, I'm just gonna set the easings on 80%. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna make a null object, and that is because I can control the camera better. And then I'm gonna set it on 3D. I'm gonna parent the camera to the null. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna press U to reveal the keyframes, and in here I'm just gonna again press P to reveal the position and Shift R to reveal the rotations, and then I'm gonna set a keyframe. I'm gonna press U to have access to these 4 keyframes, and around here what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna turn this text into a flat 2D. I can use the X. And then I'm gonna just set the easings at 80% as well. So we'll have something like this. And now when the text starts, I'm just gonna do a quick trick. I'm gonna go towards here, I'm gonna press U, and then I'm gonna press Ctrl plus Shift plus D. So this will make a duplicate of the first layer, however it will cut the beginning of it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna set the end keyframe on here, where it will be the start of the second layer. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna zoom a bit towards the text. So we need to delete these keyframes. Now, as you see, it was pretty easy to make this kind of animation. It all depends on your creativity and how you want to approach the camera animation. Now, for the last step, what we can do is that we just can adjust this text, adjust this keyframe to here, or even a couple of frames before. Great. Now, here we are at the end of this video, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it will help me out a lot for the future content. Thank you so much. Goodbye.